Hello, hello, everyone. This is Brenda for Stamplicity, and welcome to Fun Fridays. Now, today I thought I would kind of show you the new Snap and Slide little sliders from Pear Blossom Press. All right, these are pretty cool, and these are for kind of like the slide on over cards. And back in the day, we would use like pennies or little bingo chips to create that sliding action. And Pear Blossom Press has now come up with these little snap and slides, which makes it super easy. And now we don't have to search for pennies no more because we know that they're hard to find. So they come in a pack of, how many pack in there? I think there's 10 in a pack. I've used a few from my pack. So there are 10 in a pack, and there's two sides to these little snaps, all right, or these sliding mechanisms. So I'm going to show you how they work. We're going to create two cards this morning. And I'm going to be using a couple of dies and a stamp set from Trinity Stamps. So I've kind of done some prep work already, but I'll show you the stamp and die set that I will be using. This is called Ice Friends from Trinity Stamps. It is a lovely little winter scenery builder type of thing with characters. And what I love about this one is the hockey one. I mean, for us Canadians, that is like just, makes me happy. All right. We have a hard time finding those kind of like wonderful Canadian icons for us Canadian card makers. So I really love this set because of that hockey player. But there's also skaters on this one. It's got some trees that you can build your scenery with it. It's got the ice rink or the pond. And then this has the matching die with it as well. All right. So that's called Ice Friends from Trinity Stamp. The other one that I love, and this one here is like that little black dress in your closet. It's going to be a classic. Will never go out of style. And this is from Trinity Stamps. And this is Slide and Spin, the die set. All right. So this is going to give you all your slide dies, all right, for characters and items to slide. It's also going to give you spinners and such. And you can see there's a whole lot on here, which is awesome. All right. So this is a really great die to have in your collection because it's got all the shapes. It's got the straight ones. It's got the wavy ones. It's got the spinny ones. It's got the curved ones. Lots of different ones on there. All right. So that's what we're going to be using today. And like I said, I took the liberty of doing some prep work so you didn't have to see me stamping and coloring. So I've done that and I've die cut all my elements. All right. So we're going to create two cards. And so let's get going. All right. So my first card here, we're going to do a little skating card. And we're going to have our little bunny character here. Let me just grab her out here. Kind of gliding back and forth on the ice rink. All right. And we're going to use one of these snap and slide mechanisms to do that. All right. So before I get started, we're going to kind of build up our background here. Like I said, I did do some prep work, but there is still more that we want to add. So I did stamp the ice rink or the pond. Now, what's cool about this stamp is that you can see it on mine that it's kind of narrow, right? In terms or short in terms of height. Because of the nature of this stamp, there's not an inside to the stamp, all right? So that means you can, and this is the beauty of these clear stamps, you can kind of build your shape. All right, so you can stretch it, you can form it to however you want. So I wanted it a little bit taller or wider because I wanted to fit all these little characters in the background as well. So when I put it on my stamp platform, I literally kind of just stretched it out to make it taller or wider, however you see it. All right. So, which is a kind of a cool thing. I like the fact that you can do that. So yes, with clear stamps like this, you can change the orientation and the shape of them. Even your sentiments, you can do that as well because of the nature of the polymer stamps. So, which is kind of a cool thing. So so I stamped that on the bottom of my card panel here, and then I went in with my alcohol ink markers, my Olos, and I colored the ice rink. All right, so we've got some darker tones, lighter tones, so it looks like it's a lovely little icy rink there. All right, so I want to do a little bit of ink blending to create a little bit of interest in the back. All right, so I'm going to bring in my tumbled glass distress ink, and I have my ink blending brush, and I'm going to grab I'm going to grab just a piece of scrap cardstock because I want to do a cloud background in the background, and I don't know where my cloud stencil is. So I'm going to show you a little tip and technique on if you don't have a cloud background, how you can do this. All right. So first I'm going to just apply a light layer of tumbled glass just in the background. All right. So again, I always start off the paper and in rotating motions, I'm just going to go kind of around the edge and bring in that light blue. It's very light. We don't want this too heavy. We want this to be a really kind of a fun winter scene. And we don't want to make it gray, dark. We want it nice and bright. All right. So I'm just kind of going around. I'm not sure if the camera is going to pick up because it's very light, but we're going to put clouds in the background. All right. So I'm going to bring this up closer to the camera so you can see that I actually do have ink on there. I think you can see it. All right. So there we go. All right. So just a nice little blue edge on that. All right, so let's make some clouds now. All right, so I have my scrap piece of paper, and it doesn't need to be, it can be any scrap piece of paper, all right? And we're going to do kind of a ripped effect. Now, when you rip, I like to have some hills and valleys, all right? So I've got some hills, I've got some valleys, I've got that nice torn edge. This is going to be our stencil. So I'm going to apply that right over top. Now, when you have your scrap piece of paper, you want to make sure it is a little bit wider than the panel you're working on. That's going to be helpful. And I'm just going to lay that on. I'm going to grab my blending brush, and we're going to start on our scrap piece of paper, all right? And we're going to kind of blend right on the edge of that. So I'm going to go back and forth just a few times just to build that up. And when I take this off, look at that. We got a cloud in the background. All right. So there's that. So now I'm going to kind of switch the orientation of this because we don't want all it to look the same. So I flipped it upside down. All right. And now I'm going to just, I'm going to line this up kind of like here. So I'm just going to kind of go over the edge here. We want to have some white space in there still. So again, I'm just going on the edge. I'm going to remove that and take a look. All right, so we got some cloud action. I'm going to do one more, and I think I'm going to just right about there. Again, right over the edge of that ripped edge. You're just going to blend your brush right over top. You want to have some white space because that's what's going to give all that lovely shadowing. All right, there we go. Look how awesome that is. All right, so we've created a little bit of texture with a little bit of ink and a scrap piece of paper. How awesome is that? Okay, so now we have our background. So now we are I'm going to go ahead and die cut my slider. All right, so I'm going to use my little straight one here because I'm going to be placing this kind of in the middle of the ring so that she can go from left to right, right to left. All right, so that's where I'm going to place it. So I'm just going to place it on there. If you want, you could definitely tape that down. I'm just going to take my chances. I'm going to put that on there. My die cut machine is just to the left of me. You're going to hear it, but I'm not going to show it on video, but I'm just going to die cut that. All right, so I've die cut that, and I'm going to keep that inner piece as well, the one that we have die cut that out. We're going to keep that. All right, so now I'm going to start building my, oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to stamp my sentiment first. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to grab my stamp platform, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And I'm going to put that sentiment kind of right on the top because I know I'm going to have area there for a sentiment. And have an ice day or skating by to say hello. I'm going to say have an ice day. All right, so I'm going to kind of put that near the top. I'm going to kind of push it to the right ever so slightly, and I'm going to stamp this in black ink. Look straight. All right, when you have little dainty sentiments like this, just do minimal pressure if you're using a stamp platform or an acrylic block. If you put too much on there, you're really going to get that smushed effect on there, all right? Because these are dainty, all right? So um, you can always go back and stamp a little bit more, go over top of it. I did not get the bottom of my little H there. There we go, we got it. That stamps beautifully. I'm not gonna mess with it. So I'm just gonna put my stamp back so it doesn't get lost. And let's go ahead and build up my scenery here. I just realized I got ink on there because I had ink on my hands. I got ink everywhere. Oh my gosh. All right, so I'm just gonna use my sand eraser. If you do not have one of these in your collection, it is a lifesaver. I don't know. I play with ink all the time, and I love playing with ink, but I get ink everywhere. So I'm just going to, I don't know what that is. I don't think it's ink. I don't know what that is. Anyways, not going to worry. I got ink here too. That is ink. I don't know what the bottom is. It might have been something maybe from my cutting plate. Who knows? All right, let's see. I'm gonna put a little bit more pressure. Sand eraser's got like a little grittiness to it, and basically it will kind of sand off your ink on there. All right, so I had ink mark there and I had ink mark there, and it has now disappeared. Yay! This one I'm not quite sure, but that's okay. So anyways, sand eraser gonna be your best friend. All right, so let's go ahead build our scenery now. So I have some trees, I have some characters. The last thing we're going to do is our little bunny. She's going to be the one that is going to be moving. So let me just grab my glue here. And where did my tweezers go? All right, so we have trees. These are all from the set. So I can go ahead, and these are all going to be glued down flat. Do I want, I think I like these kind of whimsical trees. Oh, maybe I'll use one of these little trees and put it down here. I think that's what I'll do. I'll cover up that little spot. All right. So let's do, all right, so that's what I'm going to do for my trees. All right, so we've created this really great pond scene now. So I like to dry fit everything first. So I'm going to go ahead now and glue these down. So I'm just going to use my fine line glue here. And let's go ahead and put them down. And like I said, I colored these with my Olo markers, which are alcohol-based markers. All right, and the little guy. So we've got a nice little cluster of trees on the left-hand side, and then we'll do the right-hand side. I told myself for the new year that I got to get into coloring more. All right, we're going to do more coloring in 2026. I kind of like just never did it really in 2025. We didn't do too much in terms of coloring. But I forget how much, it's fun to do. All right, there we go. There's our little scenery. Look how cute that is. All right, now let's put our characters. So we have the kind of the fox, and then we have the reindeer that's doing some fancy oh, I should have. Oh, I might have to switch these. Or maybe we're just going to put one. I thought I had my sentiment in the right spot, but all right. You know what? I am going to All right. Fox is not going to be used. We're just going to use the reindeer because it really kind of frames that sentiment. Sorry, Mr. Fox. Maybe we can use it on the inside of our card. All right, so for this one here, I'm kind of pushing it up to the top of our ice rink. I want the skate blade to still be on the ice rink, and then we're just gonna glue him down. It's fancy feet work on that ice. I could never do that on ice. That's what I look like when I'm falling, but never skating like that. I'm not one for winter sports. I don't like being cold. True story. Give me the sun over the snow. All right, I think it's pretty, but all right, so there is that. All right, now let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and attach this now onto our card front. All right, so now you're going to need foam adhesive for this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my foam tape or my strips, whatever I find first. All right, foam tape. It is. All right, so you can use squares for this. It's just you really want to make sure things are popped up. So I'm just going to use my foam tape. And first I'm going to go around the perimeter of my card. And then you also want to make sure that you have foam tape on either side of your little strip here. That's just going to make sure that things are popped up, that the slider is going to move nicely. Now don't go right to the edge of your die cut area. Bring it away from it a little bit. You don't want your slider to get stuck on that tape. And then I'm just going to put one kind of in the middle too, so that that panel doesn't have no sinking happening and all that. So everything's going to be popped up nicely. All right. So I could, you know what, just because I don't think I need it, but I'm going to grab my thinner strips and I'm going to place one right above there. So let me just grab my strips. And like I said, I'm just going to kind of put that just above that one there. All right, so we've got all our adhesive on, and now we're going to go ahead and attach it to our card front. All right, so this is just going to get centered on. So my scenery cardstock, that sheet, that slice was 4 by 5 1/4, and then our kind of our teal blue here is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, just for if you wanted to know that. All right, so look how cute that is. Now that little piece that we die cut out, this little piece here, I like to glue it back in. All right, just that then when the slider or the character is on one side, we're not seeing this dark teal, we're seeing the actual piece that we die cut out of there. So it just makes it more consistent with the coloring and such. So I just put a little bit of liquid glue on there and just fit it back in just like a puzzle piece. And then give it a good burnish once it's down, because we don't want that stuck. All right, so we just glue that back in flat. All right, now. So when you get your snap and slides, you want the two sides. So let me just dump these out. All right. So there's going to be one that has, ooh, let me get that focused. All right, that little piece, and then we have this little piece. All right, so you need one and one. So the piece that's got the little piece that's sticking up there, this here you can slot. Oh, I should have. You know what? I was supposed to put that on before. Oh, I forgot. All right, sorry guys. been a while since I've done this one. All right, so I'm going to very carefully pull this up and hope for the best. All right, so before you put that down, you want to take that piece and you want to put it in because you're not going to be able to slide it. I think I put my foam adhesive too close. Oh, if anything's going wrong, it's going. So this is, what not to do. So I'm going to remove that little piece that I put on. All right. I removed that. I knew I shouldn't have put that on. All right. Then before you put that down, you want to put your slider on. All right. And then you're going to stick it down. So now this is on there. All right. It's stuck in there and it should slide back and forth. I think I have my foam adhesive almost a little too close there, but that's okay. It's still sliding. All right. So bring it up on my next one. I'll make sure bring it up at least almost a quarter of an inch. All right. So, all right. So we have that on and now we're going to grab our little bunny and I'm going to snap this piece on now. All right. So now it's contained. It's not going to come off. I'm going to pull that up. All right. Not going to pull up. And now we can attach our little bunny on here. All right. So obviously you don't want the little mechanism showing. So you want to make sure when you put her down that the mechanism is covered. All right. So you can use glue dots for this. I find it easier to use a glue dot. The large ones fit really nicely on it. There they are. Okay. Pear Blossom also has their own glue dots as well, but these ones, the large ones from Scrapbook Adhesives, work perfectly. So I'm just going to stick that on. And then I'm going to stick my little bunny on. All right. Now, I'm just looking at this. I probably should have put this a little bit higher, but it's okay. So now she will slide back and forth. She'll even do a little bit of spinning and super cute little interactive card. Now, it should slide a little bit better than what mine is. I will be honest. And that is only because the foam adhesive that I put on the top here is just a little too close, but that's okay. She still slides, it still moves, it's still interactive. She can twirl and such, but how fun is that? Now I am just thinking, can I fit Mr. Fox on here? I don't want to put him over here. Well, I guess I could. All right, I am going to put him on here. All right, so you can see that there's enough of a dimension on here that you can build up your scenery and it's not going to interfere with that. The key is getting your foam adhesive in the right place and not too close to your die cut. All right, so Mr. Fox is going to go here. And now we have all the friends on there. All right, so there is my little winter character. Have a nice day, Slider. Whoa. All right, let's do the other one and let's get it right this time. All right, so first card done. Now I would go in and use maybe some clear stickles and add a little bit of sparkle on there, but how fun is that? All right, let's do another one. Let me just tidy up a little bit here and let's do our hockey one. Okay, so for this one here, let me just get my garbage out of the way. I've done the work here. Look how cute he is. All right, we've got the little penguin, we've got the little bear, we've got the hockey net, we've got the puck, and everything is here. So let me just dump out my stuff here. And for this one here, I've done a die cut backing. All right, so this is Perfect Touches from Spellbinders, one of my favorites, to create that little detail on there. Then I'm just going to cut a piece of pattern paper that was in my stash, and we're just going to layer that in. All right, so I'm going to start with that. get some of the prep work done, and then we'll work on that slider piece. All right, so that's framed in and that is ready to go onto our card base now. All right, and then I cut another panel from that Perfect Touches and we're gonna frame this on there, all right? Now, before I do that, let's get everything that we need to get done in terms of the die cutting of our little slider piece in there, and then we'll build our scenery. But before I do that, let's do some ink blending because that is just too white for me. All right, so for this one here, I'm not going to worry about clouds. We're just going to add a little bit of blue kind of in the center, kind of creating a halo in there. So for that, I've got my blending brush. I'm using tumbled glass again, and I'm just going to start and create just kind of an orb of blue in the center here. Okay, you want to go light with this. You want to be darker in the center and then kind of fade out to the edges. All right, so you can kind of see that, and I'm going to do that one more time and just deepen it up a little bit. So when you do this, I start doing my circular motion in the air before I even touch my touch the paper. This way, you know, depending on what brush you have and such, this one here, chances that you probably will not get hard marks from the brush because there's so many bristles and it's so soft. But some brushes, when you hit on the paper first and then start rotating, you'll get some hard lines from the brush and the ink. So if you start your rotating in the air and then just lightly hit the paper, you'll avoid that. All right, I am happy with that. So we've got our little orb of blue. Okay, so let's go ahead and die cut now. This here, I thought I would use my bear, and I thought he should kind of move like this. I'm going to put the net over here. So I just thought that would be fun for him to have that kind of down and over kind of motion. All right, so this is what I love about this stand or this die set is that you get all the things, right? So so this one here would be a good one for it. It's not too big, and I just thought that would be fun to do. So I'm just going to, if I use, I think that's going to be perfect there. So I'm going to go ahead and die cut that. And before I do that, I'm just going to wipe my plate because I don't want those yucky marks on there. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so I'm going to save the piece. All right, so there is our little slider. All right, I have my sentiment already, so we're going to go ahead and kind of build up our scenery on here. So again, when I do this, I normally dry fit everything. I kind of position it first just to give me an idea of where I want things. We've got the little penguin. He's going to be holding a little hockey stick. And there is a puck somewhere here as well, which I don't think I'm going to put the penguin and the puck on until I have this guy on so I can get kind of better placement on here. All right. So I think the net we can go ahead and you can probably decorate it afterwards. Get your character on for character on first. Now I got glue marks on there. All right. So we're just going to put this one kind of in the background. All right. First things first, we're going to take our snapper. All right, we got both sides, and I'm going to place this on, and I'm going to snap this on, and now that is ready to go. All right, do you see how it slides now? This is the way it's supposed to slide. All right, so always put that on first. All right, so we've got that on. Now we can go ahead and put our foam tape on. And again, we're going to be very careful on placement. So I will pay attention. All right, so this one here, we want to make sure we have about 1/4 of an inch clearance from there. I've learned from my last card. All right, so I'm going to put a piece here, and I'm just going to put this little piece here just to hold things up. That slider is still moving. All right, so that is where I went wrong. If I would have put my slider on first, I would have realized that my foam tape was a little too close. So that is, if you're going to learn anything from me today, make sure you put your little piece on first and then your foam tape. All right, let's go ahead, take all these off. And what did I do with my panel? There it is. We're going to now go ahead and place this on. My foam tape's just sticking out just a bit on here, so I'm just going to use my scissors to tuck it in. Okay, now this little piece here, you can still slide it in and glue it down. You just have to be a little bit careful. So I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on here. All right. And you're just going to slide it in. It will slide underneath that slider. All right. So get it in position and use liquid glue when you do this because that gives you a little bit of time to get it down. And then I'm going to actually use the slider to actually put the pressure, and so I can burnish it down, and it's on there now. All right. So you can still fit that piece in there because that slider, you can just fit the paper underneath. You can just slide it under. All right. Okay. Let's put our little bear on here now. And again, I'm going to use those glue dots. Oh, I'm going to take this time to talk about glue dots because, through the years of classes and all that, I've seen some weird and wonky stuff with glue dots where people will take the glue dot. Okay, so when you dispense it from here, you'll pull it off and it's got a little acetate backing, and people pull that and then they try to take the glue dot off of the acetate backing to put it on. No, no, just take this, place it where you want it, give it a burnish, and then pull it off. All right. If you try to take that adhesive dot off, and I swear I have seen so many people try to do that. It's a sticky mess. All right. So just take it from the box. All right. And then place it where you want, and then take the adhesive remover off, and then place your item. All right, so he's pretty wide. So we're going to put his I'm just going to put it on his body on that slider. Look at him. He is sliding. I love it. And he will actually spin as well. But there we go. We've got him sliding. He's going to make that slap shot. All right, so super fun. All right, so now that we have him, I'm going to pull him all the way to the bottom here just so that I can get my little penguin on. So I think, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll put the penguin over here so it looks like he's a little goalie, maybe. And then I can put the puck down over here. And then I think hockey birthday to you, isn't that fun? Can go right up here, and look at that. That's so much fun. All right. So, all right. So let's glue this all down. I'm wondering if I can pop this up. I think I can pop this up. I think there's enough room. So let me let you know. I will try. I'm going to use a foam strip. There is some bulk to those snap and slides. Just know that there is. All right, hockey birthday to you. All right, and I think I'm going to pop up Mr. Penguin. And let's glue on his little hockey stick. And I think I'm going to pop up the puck here. I don't want it getting lost in the background, so we're just going to add some dimension to it. All right, and that slides just slides over top of that sentiment nicely. So there we go. We have our little hockey guy. I love it. So cute. Um, ah. All right, I think for finishing touches on here, it needs a little bit of sparkly splatter on there. So I will do that. And then I'll post these lovely samples on our Facebook page, all done. All right, so we've got the two snap and slide cards. This one was my whoopsie, but we made it work with our little skater. All right, and then we have the hockey one, and this is all from the same set, the stamp set, just called Ice Friends from Trinity Stamps, and we're using the Pear Blossom Snap and Slides to make them interactive and moving. Love, love, love. All right, everyone. So that's it for me for Stamplicity for Fun Friday. Hope you enjoyed how to use the little snap and slides. Until next time, everyone, have yourself a creative day.